Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 33, Text 23. Dhyayati Bhagavad Rupam Yad Aha Dhyana Gocharam Sutta Prasanna Vadanam Samasta Vyasta Chintaya. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Thereafter, having heard with great eagerness and in all detail from her son, Kapiladev, the eternally smiling personality of Godhead, Devahuti began to meditate constantly upon the Vishnu form of the Supreme Lord. So meditation is not on nothing or just some light, but meditation is to be on the form of the Supreme Lord. That is the goal of yoga, samadhi. Meditation, samadhi. Samadhi means to meditate, to think, to see the form of the Lord. Bhakti pravaha yogena vairagena baliyasa yukta no sthana jatena jnanena brahma hetuna vishuddhena tadatmanam atmana vishvato mukham swanubhutya tirobhuta maya guna visheshanam. She did so with serious engagement in devotional service. Because she was strong in renunciation, she accepted only the necessities of the body. She became situated in knowledge due to realization of the absolute truth. Her heart became purified. She became fully absorbed in meditation upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and all misgivings due to the modes of material nature disappeared. So we can see that Devahuti got liberation even while she was in the body. She was still in this material world, still in the body, but she got liberated. How? By engaging in serious devotional service. She was very fixed. She was very determined. You know, we make so many goals and we are very determined to follow those goals. So like that, Devahuti, she had this fixed goal. She engaged in devotional service. She meditated on the Supreme Lord, and that's how she got liberation. She got pure knowledge, situated in knowledge due to realization of the absolute truth. So means all the ignorance went away. The um, the effects of ignorance, passion, and goodness within the heart all went away. Here it's mentioned misgivings due to the modes of material nature disappeared. She had pure knowledge. She became situated in her original position. So this is a liberation. Brahmani avasthita matir bhagvati atma samshraye nivrita jiva patitvat shina kleshapta nirvrittihe. Her mind became completely engaged in the Supreme Lord, and she automatically realized the knowledge of the impersonal Brahman. As a Brahman realized soul, she was freed from the designations of the materialistic concept of life. Thus, all material pangs disappeared, and she attained transcendental bliss. The previous verse states that Devahuti was already conversant with the absolute truth. It may be questioned why she was meditating. The explanation is that when one theoretically discusses the absolute truth, he becomes situated in the impersonal concept of the absolute truth. Similarly, when one seriously discusses the subject matter of the form, qualities, pastimes, and entourage of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he becomes situated in meditation on him. So if we, without speaking of Krishna, without speaking of God, if we just speak of the spirit soul, Brahman, then we get the knowledge of the Brahman. We can get the realization only of the Brahman. We cannot get realization of God. Why? Because we are not hearing about him. So how will we know him? How will we be able to understand him? But when one really hears and chants with great earnestness, then what happens automatically? Because hearing and chanting will lead to remembrance. And this remembrance is meditation. So devotees, they're always meditating on the Lord, not that they sit down in one place and not do anything. No, they're doing all sorts of activities with the desire to please the Lord. And so they're constantly meditating on the Lord. If one has complete knowledge of the Supreme Lord, then knowledge of the impersonal Brahman is automatically realized. So complete knowledge of the Supreme Lord, that the Lord is a person and that he expands in the material world as Paramatma, and that the Brahman effulgence, the Brahmajyoti, is the light coming from his form. So if one understands that the Supreme Lord is a person, automatically one can understand about the Brahmajyoti, about the Paramatma. You know, if one is already studying calculus, then automatically they know addition, subtraction. The absolute truth is realized by the knower according to three different angles of vision, namely impersonal Brahman, localized supersoul, and ultimately the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Srila Prabhupada would give the example of the hill. If we see the hill from very far away, we will think the hill is a cloud. We can see just some shape and some cloudy something, you know. But we go closer, we can see, it's green, you know, and it has like that shape. There is a shape to the hill. And if we go on the hill, then we can see, there's so much variety. There's so many different plants, trees, waterfalls, rivers, so many different things. Similarly, if we see God from very far away, we'll think he's just light. If we go closer, we will realize him as Paramatma in everyone's heart. If we go even closer, we'll understand that he's a person. Therefore, if one is situated in knowledge of the Supreme Person, this implies that one is already situated in the concept of the Supersoul and impersonal Brahman. So if one has already finished their graduate school, means they've already done the high school, they've already done the undergrad. So if one has already understood that God is a person, it already implies that he has understood the Brahman feature and the Paramatma feature. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. This means that unless one is freed from the material entanglement and situated in Brahman, there is no question of entering into the understanding of devotional service or engaging in Krishna consciousness. So Krishna says in 18th chapter, text 54, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na sochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. That when one comes to the Brahman platform, at that time he can engage in pure devotional service. This is pure devotional service. Understanding I am not the body, I am eternal servant of Krishna. Jivera Swarubhaya Krishnera Nityadas. And so then the living entity engages in service to the Supreme Lord for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. That is pure devotional service. So pure devotional service begins from the liberated platform. It's not that liberation is the end goal, because once you're liberated, what do you have to do? We have to engage in devotional service. Devotional service is not material. It's the activity of the soul, not the body. The body is dead. We have to understand that. We are not the body, we are the soul. So after liberation, what is to be done? It's to engage in pure devotional service. Well, we may say, okay, but I'm not liberated now. Then, but we can practice. We practice engaging in devotional service now. And this practice is gonna bring us to the pure devotional service, to liberation. One who is engaged in devotional service to Krishna is understood to be already realized in the Brahman concept of life, because transcendental knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead includes knowledge of Brahman. So a pure devotee, he is already understood to be liberated. He's already understood to be liberated because he is engaging, he's understanding. He may not be actually liberated, but he is understood. I am servant of Krishna. I need to engage in devotional service. So this is as good as being liberated. No? At least theoretically, he's understood it. And so he's following it. So this is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Brahmano hi pratisthaham. The concept of the personality of Godhead does not depend on Brahman. The Vishnu Puran also confirms that one who has taken shelter of the all-auspicious Supreme Lord is already situated in the understanding of Brahman. In other words, one who is a Vaishnava is already a Brahman. So one who is completely surrendered himself to Krishna, engaging himself in the service of Krishna, has already understood that I am a spirit soul. I am an eternal servant of Krishna. And that's the reason he's engaging in devotional service. So he's already liberated. He's already realized the Brahman. And that's the reason a devotee is already a Brahmana. Brahmana means one who has understood the Brahman. So Vaishnav is already a Brahman. Another significant point of this verse is that one has to observe the prescribed rules and regulations. So it's not enough just to become a Brahman. We need to go further and become a devotee. A devotee of the Supreme Lord. That is the eternal position of every soul. Every soul is a devotee of the Lord. Everyone is a part and parcel of the Lord. So every soul is inherently a devotee of the Lord. Right now, we have simply forgotten it. We only have to revive our remembrance of the Lord by hearing and chanting. Another significant point of this verse is that one has to observe the prescribed rules and regulations. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, yuktahara viharasya. When one engages in devotional service in Krishna consciousness, he still has to eat, sleep, defend, and mate, because these are necessities of the body. But he performs such activities in a regulated way. So if we start engaging in devotional service, we say, okay, I'm not the body, I'm the soul. So I will stop eating now. But no, we are still inside the body. We need the body to be able to engage in devotional service right now because we are inside it. So we regulate our eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So how can we regulate the eating? Srila Prabhupada is saying, eat Krishna Prasad. And then how to regulate the sleeping? Sleep according to regulative principles. The principle is to reduce the duration of sleep and to reduce eating, taking only what is needed to keep the body fit. So we may say, oh, Prabhupada said reduce the sleep. So I will sleep only 2 hours every night. No, we have to see how much sleep do we need. If we need 6 hours, Prabhupada would say, take at least 6 hours of sleep. Although the Goswamis would barely sleep 1.5, 2 hours. So, but if someone may say, but I need 8 hours, then yes, sleep for 8 hours. Whatever that is needed should be done to keep the body and mind fit. so that we can engage in devotional service. Now, reduce eating. Now, somebody may just naturally have a big appetite, and their mind might get really disturbed. What is the thing that we have to reduce is the excess. Don't indulge in excess. That's what we have to control. Because we do things in excess. Whatever is needed, that we need to do. In short, the goal is spiritual advancement, not sense gratification. Similarly, sex life must be reduced. Sex life is meant only for begetting Krishna conscious children. Otherwise, there is no necessity for sex life. Nothing is prohibited, but everything is made yukta, regulated, with a higher purpose always in mind. So these are the rules and regulations so that our consciousness can be more fit to engage in devotional service, so that we can become fixed in devotional service. By following all these rules and regulations of living, one becomes purified, and all misconceptions due to ignorance become nil. We have a lot of misconceptions. Why? Because we are thinking we are the body. But if we can follow rules and regulations, at the same time engage in hearing and chanting, gradually, we will be situated in the pure knowledge. It is specifically mentioned here that the causes of material entanglement are completely vanquished. Causes of material entanglement are completely vanquished, means the soul can get liberated. We control our senses, regulate our senses rather. Regulate the senses, engage in devotional service, and can get out of the material world. The Sanskrit statement, anartha nivritti, indicates that this body is unwanted. We are spirit soul, and there was never any need of this material body. We may say, oh my God, what do you mean the body is unwanted? I am the body. How are you saying? Because we identify ourselves with the body. We take things so personally because we think we are the body. But the body is actually a bad bargain for us. Why? Because we are spirit souls. We are not supposed to be within a material body. But because we wanted to enjoy the material body, we have this body through the material energy under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we have to understand, okay, material body, we say material body. So, but under whose control is it? Under Krishna's control. This entire material energy is under Krishna's control. As soon as we are re-established in our original position of servitorship to the Supreme Lord, we begin to forget the necessities of the body, and at last we forget the body. So our original position is that we are eternal servants of Krishna. Jivera Swarubhai Krishnera Nityadas. And someone may say, but what do you mean? I have to undergo, you mean to say I get liberated and to understand that I'm a servant? But that's the natural activity of the soul. If we see what are we doing continuously, we are serving either the body, or we are serving our loved ones, or we are serving our boss or employee or siblings or parents, or as we said, serving this body, our mind, our senses. Why? Because that's the nature of the soul, Sanatan Dharma. The Sanatan Dharma of the soul is to serve Krishna. But at one point we decided, why should I serve Krishna? I want to serve myself. And that's the reason we got this material body. But the more we hear, the more we chant, the more we will be situated in our original position. And then no need anymore the material body. Sometimes in a dream, we get a particular type of body with which to work in the dream. I may dream that I'm flying in the sky, or that I have gone into the forest or some unknown place, But as soon as I am awake, I forget all these bodies. Similarly, when one is Krishna conscious, fully devoted, he forgets all his changes of body. We are always changing bodies, beginning at birth from the womb of our mother. But when we are awakened to Krishna consciousness, we forget all these bodies. So this body that we are in currently also changes. We don't realize it. We didn't come out as we are right now from the womb of our mother. It would be just too terrible for her, We had tiny bodies then. Then gradually, that body changed. It disappeared into a baby's body, like a young child's body. Then that disappeared into an adult, teenage body, then into an adult body. So body is changing. But when we become Krishna conscious, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter because our consciousness is fixed on Krishna. The bodily necessities become secondary, for the primary necessity is the engagement of the soul in real spiritual life. So we are the soul. The body is dead. There is no engagement for the body. The engagement is for the soul, and the engagement of the soul is devotional service. The activities of devotional service in full Krishna consciousness are the cause of our being situated in transcendence. The words Bhagavati Atma Samshraye denote the personality of Godhead as the Supreme Soul or the soul of everyone. So the devotional service, we continue. We engage in devotional service now, and when we are liberated, we continue to engage in devotional service. And at the time of liberation, the devotional service becomes pure devotional service because we completely understand, I'm not this body, I'm eternal servant of Krishna. So it's not that we engage in devotional service only to become liberated. And then when we are liberated, we think, I'm God. Now everyone has to serve me. No. At liberation, we understand our true position, our constitutional position, our original identity. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Bijam mam sarva bhutanam, I am the seed of all entities. So why do all the living entities exist? The Jivatma, why do they exist? Why? Because Krishna exists. Why are we existing? Because Krishna exists. That's the reason. Krishna is our source. By taking shelter of the Supreme Being, by the process of devotional service, one becomes fully situated in the concept of the personality of Godhead. As described by Kapila, Mad Guna Shruti Matrena, one who is fully Krishna conscious, situated in the personality of Godhead, is immediately saturated with love of God as soon as he hears about the transcendental qualities of the Lord. So by engaging in devotional service, we are taking shelter of Krishna. We are surrendering to Krishna. And when we become completely Krishna conscious, fully Krishna conscious, then the love for Krishna that we have in our heart is revived. It's revived. And the heart is completely blissful when we hear the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Just like, when we hear somebody speaking of our loved one, or even sometimes, suppose our loved one is traveling, then we'll talk with each other or to someone else. Like, he or she does this, or he likes this, or does like that. So there is that affection. But the affection is there. So similarly, we have this natural love for Krishna. And at that purified stage, then it is manifest. And then we can hear and talk about Krishna in that way. Devahuti was fully instructed by her son Kapiladev on how to concentrate her mind on the Vishnu form in full detail. Or we will begin this. There's 3 paragraphs still, so we can do that tomorrow, since time is almost up. Did anyone want to add or comment anything? If no, then we'll stop here. And we can see that how by engaging in devotional service, by regulating our senses, we can be situated in our original identity and revive our love of Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for listening and enjoying.